Hey there, how you doing? Hope you're good, and thank you for watching today's episode of How Can I Help You Today. And after my last video, I received an email from somebody who would prefer to remain anonymous, and the request was to give my thoughts around conscious parenting. So when I was pregnant, I read a lot of books. I will share with you now that, and perhaps you've already gathered it from the experiences that I've shared so far, I didn't really have the best childhood. And as a result of that childhood, I went on to experience lots of problems in my adult life. The problems that I experienced in childhood and some of the trauma that I experienced filtered into my experiences in relationships, into my life in general as an adult, as a child obviously, but those experiences then filtered into my adult life. And they filtered into my life as a mother. And when I had my daughter and realised that there were behaviours, there were things that I was conscious of that I wanted to be different for her. I wanted her experience of childhood, I wanted her experience of life to be different. I decided that I needed to make conscious changes. Now, when I was pregnant, I started reading. I read a lot of books, and I've done so much work, so much personal development work, and I have, basically made such a conscious effort to actually change myself so that I could be a better mother, so that I could be a good mother, so that I could give my daughter the experience of life that any child should have. And, one of the reasons for me going on the personal development journey that I've been on and investing so much money into myself that I have done is because I wanted to make sure that my daughter's experience of life, her ability to cope with life, her resilience, her confidence, her self-esteem, her self-worth, her experience in relationships, in all relationships, romantic and otherwise, was different from mine. And yes, I did it for myself, but one of my main motivators was for her, because I wanted her to have a healthier, happier, more abundant life. And so I became, I guess, what you could call a very, very conscious parent. So I read a lot of books, and I guess two books that I would recommend that you read are, well, one book in particular that I will say is called Confident Children, and it's by Gail Lindenfield. And it is a fantastic book and gives lots of tips and strategies and helpful, useful advice about parenting. The subtitle is Help Children Feel Good About Themselves, which is such an important thing to empower your children with, the ability to feel good about themselves. Despite anything else that goes on in the world around them, the ability for them to feel good about themselves. They will carry that skill, they will carry that tool into their adult lives, and it build their confidence, their resilience, their self-esteem and their self-worth. So that was a fantastic book that I read, and a very, very worthwhile resource. Another book that I would recommend, I'm not sure whether there is a version of this for boys, but it's the book that I have is called Self-Esteem for Girls, 100 Tips for Raising Happy, Confident Children, and it's by Elizabeth Hartley Brewer. Now, this book is a brilliant, it's 100 pages long, I guess. Each page gives you, kind of little tidbits of information, and then also gives bullet point strategies that you can use and implement in your daily life. And now this book is fantastic because it's not only for parents but for teachers as well. And I'm certain that you can, that some of those, the tips that are in there translate to using for boys as well. But I think I guess it's specifically geared towards raising female children, raising girl children. So I would recommend, reading around conscious parenting, reading resources that are going to help you, and implementing new and different strategies to help you to be the best parent that you can be. One thing that I would like to also, I guess, bring your attention to and bring your awareness to is the importance of the way that we speak to our children. It is so important. It is, you know, the words that we use to them, with them, the things that we say to them, end up contributing to their self-talk when they become adults. It's something that I recognise personally within myself. A few videos back last week, I think, I told you, or I recorded a video about the importance of challenging and changing your self-talk, your internal dialogue. And the internal dialogue that I acknowledged and recognised was partly due to the way that I was spoken to as a child. And what I want you to understand is that as parents, and caregivers, you know, teachers as well, you know, we have a great responsibility, because the way that we treat children has such a massive impact on who they become and how they treat themselves and how they love themselves when they're older. It has, you know, those three things just filter into so much of their life that we need to make sure, I would urge you to make sure that you are consciously interacting with children, because your words, your interaction, the way that you treat your children has such a fundamental impact on who they become, on how they function, on how they operate in their daily lives when they become adults, in their life in general. But it doesn't just impact on them when they're children. It has long-lasting effects. And I'm certain that you already know this, but it's a point that is really, I guess, close to my heart because of my own personal experiences. So that is the reason why I decided that I needed to become a conscious parent. And if I could urge you to do anything, it would be, you know, read, educate yourself, empower yourself with the tools, with the skills, with the knowledge that you can then go on and use. And also to be mindful of your language, mindful of, you know, the way that you speak, that not just the words that you use, but the way that you use those words, because our words have the ability to empower or disempower our children. And I think that a lot of the time, again, in the line of work that I do and working in education for so long, I see the effects and the impact of unconscious parenting on children. I saw it in my own life. And if I could urge you to do, you know, any one other thing, it would be to have a conscious use of language and interaction with your children, and really consider the impact, the long-term impact and implications of that parenting on them in their later life, in their adult life. And so, yeah, that is what I would say. I'm sorry if I've gone on, but, you know, like I said, I'm passionate about some things and I have a lot to say. So thank you for your question. I hope this has helped, and I will speak to you all again very soon. Bye for now.